So first of all, be aware that there are people out there actually doing this kind of stuff, which is so, I'm not even going to put my anger or where those people need to be in my life. I'm just not going to deal with that. I know if we got some
Insidious.
Singapore people, they probably got some capital punishment that I wish you would inflict on them, but I'm not going to say anything more about that.
Happy New Year.
Hey, we're in the middle of it, the middle of the month, that is.
Yeah, we are. Well, it's good to be back. Good to be back in the studio once again.
Yeah, we took a little hiatus, but that's all right. So everybody needs a break.
That's right. Before we get going, I want to do one quick thing here. I want to throw a shout out to Singapore. We have apparently a new listener or two in Singapore, and we've noticed it, and we appreciate you. Welcome to the show. All right.
Yeah, so we got people on the far side of the world listening to us, man.
And that's fantastic. That is fantastic. So I tell you what, I want to talk about something.
Okay.
I got something to say.
Yes, I know that stance, that view. I can see it in your face. You ready to go?
So, as listeners of the show may know, we've been working on some real estate deals with my dad. We got him moved over to a new house, and we're in the process of getting his old house ready to sell. And we're very close on that. I've been spending a lot of time this week on it. And while I was there the other day, I kind of tweaked my back and my hip just a little bit. And I got to tell you, if I'm honest about it, it wasn't really because it was all that hard what I was doing. It was because I decided to finish everything. And that is something that we call completion bias, boys and girls. It's your brain's addiction to finishing the job. And it's that voice that says, well, I'll just finish this room, or I'll just knock out the rest of this list, even though you're already tired and you probably should have stopped half an hour ago. I know you've been there.
That's called perfectionist syndrome too.
A little bit. So I just wanted to bring it up because I think caregiving is the perfect trap for this. And because the work is never actually done. There's always one more thing. So you stay longer, you lift one more thing, you clean one more area. And, that's how your back gets tweaked, or your hips get angry, or you burnout sneaks up on you and you start snapping and that kind of thing. Here's the deal though. See, caregiving is not a completion game. It's a sustainability game. So try, if you can.
Amen to that.
Yeah, I mean, really. So if you can do this, and I'm terrible at it, I'm learning, I'm trying to. Decide in advance how much you're going to do and stop when you hit that limit, even if the task isn't finished. I mean, in this world, stopping at a sensible point is often more responsible than finishing the job. So I think there's an antidote to it, and I'm learning this myself, and I'm trying to get my head around it, and I'm hoping that some of our listeners, this might resonate with them too, is something called energy budgeting. So instead of asking yourself, what can I get done today? You ask, how much energy do I have to spend today? And you spend that and not more. So think of your energy like money. If you blow the whole budget on one trip or one task, you're broke for the rest of the day or the next 2 days if you stove your back up in the process of that. So energy budgeting means you decide in advance, I'm going to work for 2 hours, or I'm going to do 3 tasks, or I'm going to stop before I'm tired. And then when you hit that limit, you stop, even if things are still messy.
I think that's a really good thing to do.
Yeah.
I've approached this in a different way, but probably in the same manner, the same solution, the same endpoint, which is, okay, we're going to do this for 30 minutes. And after the end of 30 minutes, we decide whether it's worth doing another 30. And
I think
that's another way of doing it. And I think it's the same kind of thing where, there's a lot of things that you should probably just let sit a little bit.
Really?
Messages to important people. It's not it's not, what's the word I'm looking for? You're not being a
hero.
A hero by getting it all done at once. Procrastination is not the same as budgeting your energy for the task at hand. So give yourself a break. Understand that if you feel tired, or you look tired, or you act tired, you're probably setting yourself up for something or a reaction that you may not want to have in front of your loved one. So pace yourself.
You really do. And you got to change your goals. I mean, the caregiving the goal is not to win today. The
No,
goal is to
the
still
goal
be
is to
functional
sustain.
next week.
Yep.
Sustainable pace beats heroic exhaustion every
Yeah.
time. I
This
mean,
is the
we
turtle, not
really
the
got
hawk.
to have, I have to talk to myself about this a little bit more because
Yeah,
I get in the thick of it. I just
and
keep
I'm
wanting to
sensing
go.
our audience is probably realizing we probably trying to convince ourselves because we are by nature, both of us, wanting to get things perfect.
Yep.
And you don't have to do that,
I want it checked off the
especially for
list. I want
this.
the loop closed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nuts.
Yeah.
So anyway, I want to throw that one out there and try to, again, I'm talking to myself as much as I am anybody else, that there's too many people that depend on me for me to be hurt and have a downtime. So that's really the goal, is to be able to help people. If I can't function, then I'm not helping anybody. So it's better to leave some things undone and get some rest and be kind to yourself than to try to get it all done. So
Yeah.
yay, self-therapy. Here we go.
Yeah, I think that's a really good approach to look at it. And it does take practice, and you have to remind yourself with it. And, I remind things, I try to enfold it into my serenity view of the world, which is can you make a contribution to the progress of this problem? Or are you now in the way of it because you're tired, you're not thinking, you're not happy? Stop. Go enjoy a little bit of life with your loved one. Y'all have ice cream together, watch a show, do something and get your mind off it and then approach it in a different way. And sometimes your mind goes, there was another way to do that,
Yep, for
another
sure.
way to handle that.
And I think there's actually another level to it too. Sometimes I think trying to get everything done is a little bit of a distraction because maybe you're uncomfortable and you've talked with your loved one about everything that you know to talk about today, and or you've heard you've watched the show that's on TV rerun 1,000 times, and you really just want something to help occupy your mind while you're there. And there's a level of that too, but don't let trying to escape whatever it is you're trying to escape kill you because you're overdoing yourself.
And it
It's
is
one of those.
perfectly okay to say, hey, I need a break.
Yep, I'm out.
I'm out for a second. I'll be back in 20
It's
minutes.
okay.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I just have a little quiet time for
Have a
real.
little quiet time.
So I think that's pretty good on that subject. But I've got a quick thing I wanted to throw out as a PSA here. Just a little public service announcement, y'all. Norovirus is going around. It's going around some assisted living facilities, and this thing is nasty. I mean, it can wipe out your whole house in about 36 hours. So stuff is insanely contagious. And here's the thing most people get wrong and don't realize: hand sanitizer does not reliably kill it. You got to have soap and water, real washing all the time. If somebody is in your house who's sick, you got to isolate them if you can. Don't let them prep food and clean surfaces you need to clean the surfaces with I can't even speak today. With bleach-based disinfectant. Get the toilets, get the door handles, get the remotes, get the phones, all of it. You got to wash contaminated clothes and bedding in hot water and dry it on high heat. And here's the rule everybody breaks: stay home and avoid other people for 48 hours after the symptoms stop. You're still contagious even when you feel mostly fine. So if you're caring for an older adult, watch for dehydration, dizziness, confusion, dry mouth, or just not urinating much. And call the doctor if the fluids won't stay down. The bottom line really is norovirus is not a power through it kind of illness. It's a containment exercise. So bleach, patience saves households and relationships. And the one other little small thing that I didn't know, but I learned this time, is that one of the major ways that it travels can be on shoes, because I think, it can be on carpets. It gets on the bottom of your shoes. You don't think about it when you come back to your house. You take your shoes off, it gets on your hands. And then from there, it can get into places that it doesn't need to get into. And it can be really bad. So watch out for that. If you know you're going into a place that's got norovirus, like an assisted living facility at this time of the year, suit up. Wear a mask, wear some gloves, even put something on your shoes if you can. The other day, I'm saying all this because my aunt called me the other day. Her assisted living facility has a case of this right now, and she needed me to bring some supplies. So I looked like I was going into some sort of contagion sci-fi movie. But I mean, I had on blue gloves, I had on a mask, I had Walmart bags on my shoes when I walked into the place. I got some funny looks, but I didn't stay but about 2 minutes, and I was out, and all that stuff went into a trash bag as soon as I walked out of the place. So I don't think you can be too careful with this stuff.
I think you're right, and this is not the same as COVID scare or anything like that. COVID was bad, but norovirus has a lot of unique things that Barry just kind of warned you about, and they're serious.
Let's just
And
say it
if
comes
you're,
out both ends, and
it
that ain't
sure
cool.
does. But there is not the only disease that's out there. We in South Carolina are experiencing a measles epidemic. And
Yeah,
it has some of the same things that go along with it. I looked this up, Barry, when you told me this at lunch. It has the same characteristics. It's a highly contagious disease. It actually can stay in the air for more than 2 hours.
goodness
So
gracious.
you got
Yeah,
to be really careful about that. And then we are also experiencing a high level of flu, and a flu that for older people can be very dangerous too. So this is the time of year where you need to be careful.
for sure.
And we're saying that because as a caregiver, you're probably dealing with loved ones who are of the age that it's acceptable to this. So, especially if they have anything to do with, if they're one of the ones that can't be vaccinated, if they're going through cancer treatment for something like that, you got to be really careful. So, be aware, and
Sure.
do things to reduce their risk. You're probably okay. If Barry and I are probably okay. But what you want to avoid is exposing them.
Yeah, no doubt.
Just complicates their lives in ways you just don't want. Don't need to
Yeah,
do it.
and I'm I still worry about it, and I'm vaccinated for practically everything. So
Yeah.
it's just one
Yeah,
of
you
those
just have to
things.
be. And
Yeah,
Barry and I are linchpins in the support system for several people. So, like you said before, if we go down, it's not just the loved one you're taking care of, it's the other one you're taking care of too that suffers. And so, yeah,
and
just be careful.
and
Just a
Murphy's law
reminder, be careful about
applies.
that kind of stuff.
Will happen at the least possible.
Of course it will.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, really, at the worst possible time. So
So I,
yeah,
I
be
got a
cool.
funny story to tell you. It's
Go
funny,
for it.
but it's not funny. So my mother called me a couple of days ago. She hung up the phone and said, "Bobby, I hope you're okay." I said, "What? What's going on?" "I'm okay." Usually I'm the one asking you. So I called back and I talked to my caregiver, and she said, "Well, we picked up the phone and someone was on the phone pretending to be me, saying I had a nosebleed. Please send money."
My
Really?
goodness, really?
And so I said, "You got to be kidding me."
What, you
But
gonna
from the
wipe your
way
nose with the dollar bills? I mean, come
what's
on.
that going to do? That's going to help me. So that's kind of funny. But my mom was taken aback because she could not tell it was not me or not, and she was very insistent to call me back. And this is how these kinds of things work: the susceptibility for some of our loved ones. That if they think that anything is wrong with the people who are taking care of them, their focus is on getting back to that person, and somehow that sets them up for these kind of traps. So
Hmm.
first of all, be aware that there are people out there actually doing this kind of stuff, which is so, I'm not even going to put my anger or where those people need to be in my life. I'm just not going to deal with that. I know we got some
Insidious.
Singapore people. They probably got some capital punishment that I wish you would inflict on them, but I'm not going to say anything more about that.
You
But
think
the other thing that,
spitting on the sidewalk is bad?
yeah,
No,
it's
no.
like, come on. So at this point, I guess you need to be aware that there are scams about that. They're not through yet. And even though Christmas is done and we're in the new year, they're still trying. They're still coming up with different ideas. And to the fact that I heard some well-known podcasters that I trust, and Barry knows who this is, who actually almost fell for it. So even the most experienced of people, even people like us, they're getting good enough that they'll get you. So pay attention. Don't pull out your card when you're half asleep in the middle of the night. There's no need to do that. Wait in the morning. Like you said, you don't have to finish it. You can wait till something else.
Yeah, this can wait.
Just be aware that there are people out to take advantage, and you're the protection. So check
Yeah,
that email address. Don't answer that call. Block that spam. Do whatever you have to do. And
for real.
I could go into a while of things that we've already talked about on how you can do those kinds of things. And I'll talk about the IRS in a second. But the IRS is never going to call you and ask you for money. That's not going to
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
So
One of my favorites lately that get on my nerves are political texts that are from the side of the aisle that I generally would support, wanting me to send money to help with, whatever the cause is right now. I would never follow a link in a text message to me and give money to anybody. I'm just not going to do that. It's maybe if I wanted to support them, though, I'd go find the right proper web address for that, and then their actual campaign website. But I would never follow a link and do that. I always delete and report spam, even if it's somebody that I would agree with politically. I do not do that. I don't play that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
using a text message to do your donations is not a good practice. Y Find that website, find their page, make sure it's what they know, and deal with it from front. So,
for sure.
identify and confirm as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. No
So,
doubt.
let me tell
No
you
doubt.
just a reminder too about the IRS. Alright, so I think back in our September podcast, I kind of saw this and made a point of it before that the IRS has now officially started to phase out whether they will mail you a paper refund anymore. So they will not send you a check anymore.
Mhm.
They want you to have direct deposit, or there's some
Okay.
other options that I will put in our show notes that you can look at. And you can get exemptions to this kind of rule, but as of September 30th of 2025, there are no more paper refund checks being sent out. You have to make other arrangements. And what are those other arrangements? Well, direct deposit is the most important one, but you
Mhm.
can also do prepaid debit cards and deposit information so they can actually send a deposit like via Zelle or something like that.
Okay.
And then there are other notable payment options that you could do: IRS Direct Pay. You can do electronic federal payment system and those kinds of things. There's a lot of information about that. If you're doing taxes for your loved one, and you probably are in this time, be aware if they get a refund, it must have one of those thing approved ways of doing it. So that might require you talking to your tax preparer a little earlier, maybe checking and asking mom, hey, you're not expecting no paper check to come. And then have a conversation about, how do you do that? So you can set up direct deposits for retirees. That's very easy to do. So just make sure you do that.
That's very, very good advice.
And I'll throw some show notes in there so you can see there's a little bit of
I'd
information
say
in
it's
there.
probably a good idea to go ahead and set that up ahead of time.
Yes, it
If
is.
you with irs.gov, go ahead and be doing that now, not at the last minute.
No, not when you're right. Not on the 15th when you're trying to turn it in or something like
Yeah,
that. So
that's not the time for that sort of
yeah,
thing,
it's not the
for
time.
sure.
If you're ever at your reminder, you can get exemption. An exemption is very easy to get. So you can call a tax preparer and ask for some extension time. Now they may charge you some interest if you owe money, but if you're trying to get money, they can usually do that for you. So
Yeah.
again,
And just to be clear as a note, you can still write checks to pay your IRS bill,
yes,
but they
it's the
won't send you a
refund.
check as a refund.
It's the refund that gets you.
There you go. Well, I got a couple of things too. One is I want to give an update on the parking lot list. If your
Yeah.
listeners were listening to our last episode, I was going off on a tirade about being assigned task in the midst of actually doing other tasks, and I came up with a method that I'm experimenting with right now. It's that just stopping what I'm doing for a moment and expressing to my dad, okay, I'm going to put that on the list, and then we'll talk about that at a later date. And so far, that's actually working pretty good. And in combination with the wait, if it's something questionable, wait till you hear that request more than once before you actually decide to do it. And it's working really good. And I found that some of these tasks get solved before I have to do anything with them. Some of these tasks actually just get deleted because, yeah, I didn't really want to do that. And I've had good luck with being able to delegate some of these things that I am not local to do. So it's actually working. So I'm probably gonna tweak it a little bit, but it's still working out pretty good. And this brings me to something that this is gonna be another little therapy segment here.
We've been
You know,
doing that a lot lately, and it's good.
it's good. I've got all kinds of lists. I use Apple Reminders. It's one of my key cornerstones for getting stuff done, and I have a lot of things on there. And one of the things, since my mom passed away a couple years back, I have closed pretty much all the loops on that, except for I have not deleted my mother's email account. And I don't quite understand why I haven't done it yet. It's still on my list, and I put it back off for a month or two, and then it comes back up again. I have to do it again. But I know there's a finality to that,
Hmm.
but it is an open loop. And I think it's something that I should do because honestly, it can be a security vector.
Yeah, it can.
It really can. It can be a phishing vector and things like that. But it has an extremely good password on it, and it's just sitting out there. But pretty soon now, hopefully by the time we have the next episode, I will have gone ahead and closed that loop and checked off the last project when it comes to all the affairs of my mom's estate. So wish me luck on that one, and we'll see if it actually happens.
Listen, brother, I understand.
Yep.
I'm looking at an iPad right now that belonged to my sister who passed away about 3 years ago. Actually, more than that now. This is 2026. She died in 2021. So that's 5 years ago. Still, part of me is still not wanting to do the vector change I need to make to erase that iPad and set it up. And, it's one of those things, if you do it now, it's the finality of it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's sometimes like that, you do what you can to hold on to people, and it's probably going to sit there for a long time because it's an old iPad. I can't do anything with it, but maybe use that as a clock. But I'm looking right at it, and every time I see it, I'm reminded of her. So I understand. I get it.
Yep, you get it.
Same thing with some of my father's accounts too. So it's, I
Just
don't
one of
want
those
to say
things.
it's part of the grieving process, but it's the last part of it that gives you a finality of things. And I can understand how you might want to hold on to
Yeah,
that.
for sure. So sitting here looking at our list, I think that's most of the things I wanted to talk about today. What about yourself?
Well, I think we got it. I do want to say, one final item about phishing.
Mm-hmm.
They're using some really advanced techniques. And so one of the things I did, because I saw your thing about deleting your mom's email, of course, the interpretation I looked at it was, deleting the email she gets. I think a while back, I actually got access to her email, and I do it every day now. I used to come in like every month, and there'd be hundreds of messages that I delete. I'm so glad that I do it now a little bit at a time. So take that as a closure to that one that we did back in October. That to say, sometimes you can take a little bit of that and make it a little bit every day instead of a lot every month.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot better to deal with. So, yeah.
That's a good thing.
Now she doesn't even know that she's losing it. And she doesn't need to know, about they're sending her email on ED and that she wanted breast implants. This is crazy. She didn't need to read that. So,
yeah, for sure.
Scan that email, get rid of it, and make your life a lot.
I think that's a good plan. A good plan all around.
Yeah.
I was trying to think if there's anything that we would need to talk about, we would like to know from our listeners. So give us a shout if you would, caretechandtips@gmail.com, or you can comment on our YouTube videos. We'd love to hear some comments to say, tell us if we're doing a good job, if we're not doing a good job. We might not listen to you if you're telling us that, but who knows? But we'll see. But yeah, we'd like to have any kind of comments that you want to give us, and especially any kind of opinions about subjects that you'd like for us to talk about. Give us a comment, and as usual, please like and subscribe. And if you're listening to the YouTube version of this, hit the notification bell so you know when we have new episodes coming out. And we always appreciate good reviews on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and any of those other podcast platforms. And we just appreciate you taking the time to listen to us and put up with us. And
as always, nobody's told you this. We're going to tell it to you now. Thank you for what you do for your loved one, because it's important and it makes a difference.
You're doing a good job.
You're doing a good job.
All right. Y'all be good. We'll see you next time.
All right.
Bye-bye.